Good morning, everybody. We are back to Big Man Campus, and we are live. NFL Week 5 preview. Breaking down the NFL. Free picks for every game. Predictions, injury reports, whatever you have. Welcome, as always, to everyone out there. My name is Jeff. They call me the Big Man on Campus. I'm here with my co-host, Ryan D'Amico. Ryan, quickly, yesterday, what went on with Jim Harbaugh running up the score? What happened? 78 points against the lowly Rutgers Scarlet Knights. I mean, I feel like we should have a funeral today for them.
Well, Rutgers did wear all black uniforms last night.
Well, they were late to their own funeral.
But did he really run up the score? Like, was he throwing the ball? I mean, I'd like to know how many passing attempts they had in the second half. It wasn't many. They had second and many actually. I mean, everyone knows. I know the depth chart better than most people that listen to this show. And they had a lot of third stringers playing. Ran the ball at the middle constantly all second half. So, I mean, I said to you last night jokingly, I mean, he's not just going to knee on the ball the whole second half.
I mean, come on, Ryan. I mean, 78 points is a little ridiculous.
Maybe Rutgers should play some defense.
Well, Jim Harbaugh should have went to the refs and said, why don't we call this a little early?
Yeah, because he's going to do that. Right.
Well,
he's going to do that.
Well, every other team does it that's up 75 points.
Yeah, against FCS teams.
Doesn't matter.
Not against a conference.
It does not matter, Ryan.
It does matter.
Okay,
I mean, this is a Rutgers team that wanted to join the Big Ten.
That's fine.
They're in the Big Ten, and they're a joke.
Okay, I'm just saying 70-0.
And their head coach, Chris Ash, ran his mouth all offseason about Jim Harbaugh, and to think that Harbaugh would let that go.
Well, that's what Jim Harbaugh does. He's an immature guy.
He's not immature. How about Chris Ash, who is a head coach?
Chris Ash is trying to let a fire under his team, Ryan.
Okay,
come on.
Well, you picked the wrong guy to mess with because that's what happens.
Well, right. Again, Ryan, I just want to point out what win is quality on that schedule, other than Wisconsin.
Well,
I'd like to
at the time yesterday, they were one of only two teams in college football that had beaten two ranked opponents, being Colorado, which they did lose, but at the time they were ranked. They were ranked yesterday, and Wisconsin. They were actually only one of two teams that has beaten two ranked teams. So there's your answer.
Ryan, they beat UCF.
Doesn't matter. I just gave you your answer.
They beat Central Florida. They beat one ranked. What are you talking about? Ranked. They beat one ranked team.
And Colorado was ranked yesterday.
Okay, one ranked team, big deal.
But I'm saying they were ranked. So at the time yesterday, they were only one of two teams that had beaten two ranked teams.
Who were the two ranked teams?
Wisconsin and Colorado. Colorado was ranked yesterday. Granted, they lost. I get that, but I'm just saying.
But do you think that's a quality schedule? Do you think that's Do you think they're a team that can hang with the big boys?
Who?
Michigan.
Well, I don't see why not.
You think they're good at? You think they're as good as Ohio State?
I think their defense is good enough to where they'll keep. I think it'll keep them in any game. Personally, yeah, that's kind of what I think. Yeah, I do.
All right. Well, I feel like we should say a little prayer for Rutgers. I mean, that poor team does not deserve that beating. However,
why don't they deserve it?
Well, because they're not good enough to play at that level, and they shouldn't be beaten that bad.
That's not Michigan's problem.
Okay, well, there should have been some sort of mercy rule in that game. But we are talking NFL, and we're here. Just a little ribbing, Ryan. Take it easy. You get a little serious when you talk about
it's annoying. That's all.
Well, it's not annoying because you know it's true.
It's not.
If that was
Why
any
is
other,
it true?
if you know that if that was any other team, you would have said the same thing.
No, I wouldn't have.
Yeah, well,
I don't think any team should get. I mean, if you're gonna sign up and play a football game, then you need to be prepared to either the good or the bad. That's the way I've looked at it. That's the way I've always looked at it.
Okay. Well,
it goes back to, if you don't like it, stop it. It goes back to that whole scenario. And I've said that since I was a kid, and I'll continue to say it.
Okay. So. Well, Ryan, how did you do yesterday in college football?
Well, in the play, yesterday wasn't probably.
We actually did pretty well on the show, 3-1.
On the show, we had a good day, 3-1. You went 2-0, good job. I went 1-1. Miami just kind of floundered and shit the bed.
Well, you know what, Ryan? It's no sense because it doesn't matter to me. I'm not doing well in client plays right now, and then there's no.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's everything but the games that I really need to win are not winning. Killing everything. NFL's been pretty good, and the free plays even.
Yeah.
But. Whatever. What can I do, Ryan? I just continue to try to put
what you think are free plays.
I should probably just find a way to give out just plays in general, Ryan. But a couple games under 500. What can I do, Ryan? And then shout out to all the guys that are with me, man. I know you guys are trying to roll along here. 1-3 yesterday, Ryan. Or 1-3 this weekend, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had Boise on Friday night, day one, but then a couple losses yesterday. Had a push on a teaser, just brutal stuff. Army does whatever they can to lose yesterday badly, but whatever. We're going to move on here and try to get it next week. That's all you can do, right, Ryan?
Yep.
Let's talk NFL, though. We are embarking on week 5. We've had several weeks off. There were weeks where you weren't here and that kind of thing. So we had a pretty good week last week, Ryan. I believe the first week we kept track of the record. We were, I think, 2 games under 500 during the day. So we didn't do great the first week. But last week we had a good week, 9-5 on the picks. They're all documented here on the show. So if you feel like listening back, which many will because that's what they do, you'll find a good. We had a good job. We called Atlanta. You called Atlanta.
Yep.
That was a nice one.
Yep.
Saints won outright.
Yep.
Had some good ones last week. So let's try to embark on another good week here for free. We give a pick for every game, regardless of the game. So you'll get a pick from every game here. So if you're out there listening, appreciate it. If you enjoy the show, let us know. Retweet it, favorite it, do whatever. At the end of the day, we're just having fun here doing something for free, Ryan.
Exactly.
So let's jump into it here. Do I like down? Well, Fake Fam Tracker, if you listen to the show, we will give you a pick on that game for free. All right? I guarantee that. That is one thing I can guarantee.
Yep, we will talk about that.
1 o'clock p.m., first game on the card, Ryan. Vikings, -6.5 against the Texans. Over-under is 39.5 or 40. For the sake of the show, I see 39.5 everywhere, mostly, so we'll go 39.5 on a total. Minnesota, Ryan's covered. 14 of 19 at home. They're playing some good football. They're 4-0 against the spread this year, and over the last 3 years, Ryan, 28-9 against the spread. They have been one of the best ATS teams for bettors in the NFL. And they're playing well. Bradford looks like a quarterback that's going to lead his team to the playoffs right now. So they got a nice side of the deal in that trade with the Eagles. Peterson, no problem. They're still running the ball pretty effectively. Stephon Diggs, is he in today? He's out?
He's doubtful. It doesn't sound like he's
going to be a tough loss for Sam and company. That's kind of been, hey, Kid Picks, how you doing, buddy? Sean, what's up? Fake Fam, everyone out there. That's a tough loss for him. That's kind of a security blanket. We saw it against the Packers. What do they have at receiver, really, other than...
Well, it looks like you're going to see a high dose of and you kind of saw it last week in that Monday night game. Cordero Patterson got a lot of touches last week. Speed guy, from Tennessee, who hasn't kind of lived up to his first-round hype, but I think he gets a lot of touches today.
And you also look at the fact that they don't have a great run game. And they're playing a Texans team who, look, in one road game they were shut out this year. Let's not take away from the elephant in the room. Right.
Yeah.
They were shut out 27-0 against a third-string quarterback. And look, you look at their wins, Cleveland, Tennessee, and Kansas City, and the Kansas City one was at home. Not exactly a great group of teams there. No J.J. Watt, but this is a tough game, I think, for the Vikings, with not a lot of playmakers. But then again, that defense, very good. We know that. I would say, statistically, they're not the best team in the NFL, but I think we can agree they're probably the best defense in the NFL, maybe other than Denver. For me, it's hard to trust Brock Osweiler with the interceptions. I don't know about you. I know you had them last week. We both had them last week. We were a little bit annoyed with the interceptions constantly. I'm going to go under. Vikings 25-11 to the under the last 3 years. Tennessee's not exactly killing it offensively. They've been pretty good on the defensive end. I think this is a low-scoring game. There's not a ton of playmakers on the field other than one or two for Houston. I think this is a low-scoring game, a low total, but I'm not in love with the game. I'll take a shot with the under here.
Yeah, I'm not in love with the game either. I see a lot of people liking Houston here, thinking it's a lot of points. If I picked the side, I honestly would lean Minnesota. I think this is kind of a Minnesota line, to be honest with you. The last handful of years, Houston has just not been a very good road team. The majority of their wins have come there at NRG Field, at home in Houston. And look, it's no secret I'm not an Osweiler guy. I was kind of kicking myself at times last week for back in Houston because Osweiler just seems to do dumb shit a couple times throughout the game. And luckily they were playing Houston, and luckily they were at home, and they found a way to win thanks to a punt return for a touchdown. But I think, and it's funny you talk about Minnesota's defense. They're actually second in the NFL in points per game allowed behind the Eagles, but they do have a game in hand on the Eagles. So I would personally say they're first in points per game because they have played that extra game. 31st in the league in total offense. That's kind of a concern, but I think Cordell Patterson makes some plays today. That he's in space. That kid's something else in space. I lean Vikings for a side, but as far as the show for a pick, I'll go under as well. You kind of hit the nail on the head when you said there's not a lot of playmakers on the field today. There's really not. Will Fuller is one of them. I'll give you that. DeAndre Hopkins, who's just kind of been irrelevant. Not sure whether the teams are just game planning for him a lot or just Osweiler's not throwing his way. But yeah, not a ton of playmakers on the field today. So I think under is a decent play. But a game, not one of my favorites on the card.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a tough one. I got to be honest, Trent, I would almost lean with the Vikings, but I don't think the side has any value really because, like I said, Vikings have really just no playmakers right now. Not really. Maybe Kyle Rudolph if he could get in.
Rudolph and Cordell Patterson are the only two players that you could really think are going to kind of make a play for you. Really
I
hope
that both defenses kind of just show out, which I think they will. I think both these defenses are really good.
Vikings defense should be able to stifle Osweiler, really.
Sure. So yeah, I'll go under. We'll go under 39 for the sake of the show here.
Yeah.
Next one, 1:00 Eastern. Miami Dolphins -3 against the Tennessee Titans, over under 43.5. Ryan, we've documented Tennessee's issues against the spread. 8-26 over the last 3 years, 5-13 on the road, and they're just 3-21 against the spread versus conference opponents. I mean, just dreadful. So you got a Minnesota team who's really extremely good against the spread, and you get the other spectrum, the Tennessee Titans, who are the worst team in the NFL against the spread. Tennessee can't score. They're having trouble with that, just 15 points a game. But you look at this Miami offense, they've been terrible as well. They can't really move the football. And you look at what's kind of concerning about Miami, Brian, they cannot stop the run on the defensive side of the football. 29th in the country or in the NFL against the run. DeMarco Murray has been a bright spot for this offense. He seemed to kind of find himself with Tennessee. And you also look at the fact, Ryan, Miami converting just 26.7% of their third downs. That is last in the NFL. This Miami team stinks. I'm just not a fan of this team. I don't know what else to say. Ryan Tannehill is a deer in headlights. They don't have a lot of playmakers either. I'm going to go with Tennessee here, +3. I think Tennessee, at the end of the day, are they a great team? No. But I'm going to tell you one thing, Ryan. They're in games late most of the time. They're a scrappy, pretty good on defense team, and they can run the football against a team that can't stop the run. I like Tennessee. I think they make it an outright win here. I'm going to take the 3 points, though.
Yeah, Miami's just a very bad, very bad football team. You got to remember, this team should have lost at home to Cleveland. This team should have no wins on the year. Really haven't been in any of their games. Got blown out by Cincy. Got blown out by New England. Forget who they played week 1, but they just haven't been good. They don't do anything really particularly well. It's pretty sad, really. And Tennessee, you took a point that I was going to say, is how it seems like they're always in games late. The fourth quarter seems like it's always a one-possession game, always. And the way DeMarco Murray's been running this year, kind of ripping off some longer runs, he seems to be just he's invested more this year than he was last year, obviously, with Philly. And Mariota shows some promise at times. So, yeah, I would lean Tennessee here. I want no part of Miami right now. Absolutely no part. I'm not sure how you can back Tannehill and back that rush defense and just that whole entire team in general. They just do nothing. And you say they don't have any playmakers. Landry and Devontae Parker are actually pretty solid on the outside. It's just Tannehill, just for whatever reason, just can't get him the ball. So,
Right,
Yeah,
and
I'll go Tennessee here.
yeah, I mean, like I said, Tennessee hangs around. They're always in games, seemingly late.
No major injuries in this game, too, either. Just wanted to touch on that. Really, we talked about some injuries in the first game. No major injuries here. Just like to keep you updated each game. So no major injuries here.
Very good. We'll go Tennessee +3
Yes.
in this one. Next one, Ryan. New England Patriots -10.5 against Cleveland Browns. Over under 47.5, I think. I can't read my writing. 0-4 for Cleveland. 3-1 for the Patriots of a bad loss to the Bills. However, they were just really just looking to get to this game. Don't have to worry about that Brissett and Garoppolo
they got through that
issue.
that little first 4 games 3-1, and I think they'll tell you they're happy.
That's all they won. Brady's back, Ryan. 84% of the money is on the New England Patriots here. I was told years ago in the NFL, the best thing I can do, bet on New England. That was always something told to me by several guys that I remember when I first started betting. They kind of told me New England is a team, garners a lot of public action, but again, they cover. They win games and cover, and they're rolling. Look, 3-1 is probably, other than 4-0, the most they could ask for. Mostly healthy. They're all in there pretty much. And they're only going to get better, obviously, with adding Brady. This Cleveland defense is brutal, giving up 29 points per game. They've given up 25 or more points in every game this year. And you look at their offense. In 4 games, Cleveland has turned the ball over 7 times. I think your big thing is if you could just kind of contain Crowell, which he's had a decent year, 110 yards per game. Cody Kessler's not going to strike a lot of fear in anyone's eyes. Look, I know a lot of the public's on this game, and it does make me concerned. I've saw throughout the years that in the NFL, what looks too good to be true usually is. But I have a hard time not backing New England here. I think this is like a 35-14 type of game. I think they kind of just show that they're the class, and this Cleveland team's awful. I mean, it really. If they had a quarterback, maybe you'd want to maybe grab them. But Kessler looks lost. I think they roll in this game.
Yeah, I would side New England as well, just with the kind of extra motivation, obviously with Brady coming back, and the Browns just top to bottom, they're just really poor. I mean, the only player that does anything consistently for them seems to be Terrell Pryor, and he's just like a pocket knife. He does just kind of a little bit of everything for him. He doesn't have one natural position. But yeah, everyone's back for New England. Edelman and Gronk's back, and Brady's got his whole kind of his whole repertoire there to throw the ball to. So for me, it's pretty. It seems easy. 10 points. It's really not a lot. They should definitely win by 2 touchdowns here. But yeah, that's the side I would go with the New England. Pretty cut and dry for me.
And again, Kid picks, good point. Bill Belichick facing a rookie quarterback. I mean, this could get ugly.
Yep.
For Cody Kessler here. And you look at a team when you're looking to maybe back an underdog. Are there any playmakers? Cleveland does not have any.
New England historically too under Belichick coming off a loss. Obviously, they're not going to lose this game, but when they usually do play really well in that coming off of a loss scenario. So
yeah, again, the only knock here would be this just looks like everyone is on New England. It just looks like that's just kind of my thing. But I think this one hurts the books today. I think New England rolls here.
Okay,
yeah, I really do. So you agree, New England to play? All right, next one, 1:00 Eastern, Pittsburgh Steelers. -9.5 against the New York Jets, over under 49.5. Ryan, 13 turnovers for the New York Jets, 10 of which are from Ryan Fitzpatrick. 10 interceptions. He's on pace for 40 interceptions this year. Do you happen to know who holds the NFL record for most interceptions in the season?
I heard it a few years ago.
1962, George Blanda. 42
Yeah.
interceptions. In 1 year.
It's terrible.
But again, Ryan Fitzpatrick is on pace to do that. And then you look at the other side, Pittsburgh Steelers bounced back in a big way after that loss to the Eagles.
Yep.
I think we could probably say that was just a bad week for Pittsburgh. I think we all agree this is a team that will vie for a championship.
Very good team, yeah.
You would think Ben will have another big day here. This Jets defense has looked lost. 26 points a game, no Darrelle Revis, and that may be a good thing. Quarterbacks are completing 81% of their passes against Darrelle Revis.
Right.
And again, this defense has looked totally lost. And now you got to face the best offense in the NFL at home. Look, I'm not in love with the game here, but I would go with the Steelers here. Really, I can't bet Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think the Steelers are a little better on defense than given credit for. No Decker, he's not playing.
Nope.
I just don't really see it with the Jets. I don't. And defensively, we can't really hang our hats that they're going to get after you on the defensive end like they have in normal years. They're just not very good on the defensive side right now. Russell Wilson carved them up last week. And that was Seattle offense that could not move the ball recently.
Yep.
I'm not in love with the game, but I'll lay the points here with the Steelers at home. I think the week 3 against the Eagles was a facade. I think they continue here.
Yeah, I would lean Pittsburgh kind of as well. I really can't back the Jets right now. They're playing just extremely, extremely bad football right now, especially Fitzpatrick, the guy who sat out for most of the offseason, holding out and wanting more money, and finally got it. And this is the product that he's putting out there for the Jets and their fans. They got Le'Veon Bell back last week. Obviously, with the fresh legs, he got a lot of touches. He's lining up outside a lot more this year. I think he was a wide receiver, lined up on the outside, I think 8 or 9 times last week, which is a high number actually for him. Just the firepower they have on offense. And the defense, you're right. For whatever reason, the defense, they don't have a lot of names outside the linebacking core that really wow you, but they kind of just consistently get the job done. So, for me, I would go, Roethlisberger should have a big day today, really. So, if you're telling me that Fitzpatrick has to sit back there and kind of put up points and kind of go score for score with the Steelers and Big Ben in that offense, I just don't see it happening. So, I would lean Pittsburgh as well, 100%. I know it's kind of a bigger number, but I just can't back them. I can't.
You do look at the Steelers' injury report. A lot of people out. Several offensive linemen, Ryan Shazier. Their offensive line's banged up. You would think Jets if Jets get a pass rush, they may hang in this game. But
I love the Steelers at home too. You know that.
Yeah,
if you've listened to the show over the years, I love them at home.
Yeah. But then you look at the Jets. They have some issues on the offensive line as well. So I'm going to lean with the Pittsburgh Steelers here, minus 9.5. Ryan at home. I think we can agree on that one. Next one, Ravens. Ryan, what are your thoughts on the total? 49.5 seems a little high in that game. In Jets Steelers.
Yeah.
A little high. But again,
Yeah.
Steelers can drop 35 on you pretty quick.
Very rarely do I play totals. I'm just not a totals guy. From day one, I've just not been a totals guy. But yeah, I guess it's a little high.
Ravens, minus 3.5 against the Redskins, over under 45. Battle of Baltimore-Washington here, Ryan.
The Battle of the Beltway.
Correct. Heading down to Landover. Who do the Redskins have in the secondary right now, other than Josh Norman?
Banged up.
Sua Craven's out, Breland out, and that's not good for this Washington defense, who are allowing opponents to convert 58% of their third downs. That is the worst in the NFL. It's concerning and annoying backing a team that just can't get off the field on third down, and Washington has been the worst in the NFL in doing that. Flacco been pretty good this year, 250-plus yards in 3 or 4 games. The problem with backing the Ravens is they don't really blow anyone out. You look at over the last 20 games, Ravens games have been decided by 6.1 points. Not a lot of margin for error there, Ryan. And at a number 3.5, there's really not a lot of margin for error here. I think this is the hardest game in the card this week because, I wonder what exactly do you have with Baltimore. They're not great offensively. Defensively, they can be scored on. Redskins, I like Cousins for the most part. I don't know. This is a total toss-up here for me. For the sake of the show, I'll give out the Ravens. But this just goes to show you that we really do put everything out there, Ryan. I mean, we really do. This is a game that I have no interest in. I don't want to give a pick up, but I will. For the sake of it, I'll hope the Ravens can win by 26-20 or something.
Yeah, I have a slight lean to the Ravens here. This is definitely one of those matchups that I just don't care about.
I wish we didn't have to pick it. Really.
Ravens at home, coming off of a loss. A really good game last week against the Raiders. If anyone watched kind of the third, end of third into the fourth quarter game of that game, it was extremely entertaining. So they're coming off a hard fought game there against a good Raiders team who's finding ways to win right now, sitting at 3-1. The Redskins, look, I've said for weeks, I just don't think they're a very good football team, and I don't think they'll have much success going forward the rest of the year. So going on the road. Granted, it's not far, but it's still a road game. And, Kenneth Dixon's going to make his season debut this year.
La Tech.
Maybe that gives them a little bit of, he's not going to start, but he's going to see a good amount of playing time. Maybe that gives them an extra kind of dynamic there on offense. And
big fan of his in college. I like
he was fantastic, right. That was a fun team last year with him and Driscoll and that whole gang. But yeah, that's where I lean, Jeff. I would slightly lean to the Ravens here, being at home.
Baltimore's only allowed 2 rushing touchdowns this year. Great stat there. But yeah, Ryan, is it me or is this NFL card awful?
Yeah, I'm not really
brutal.
I'm not high on it at all.
I've only really uncovered 1 or 2 games that I'm really interested in, but we'll see if it keeps moving here. 1 o'clock Eastern, Ryan, Colts. So we agree, Ravens in that one. Again, that is the game I have no interest whatsoever, but we'll give it out just for the sake of this show.
Right.
Colts -4.5 against the Bears, over under 48. Colts off the game in London that they lost. That again, the defense just doesn't show up, and this defense is bad. They are giving up 27 points a game. They can't get stops. You really have no confidence that they'll ever get a stop. But now they're facing a Bears team who, is pretty bad offensively. Can't move the football with, who's their quarterback?
Brian
Hoyer, who seems like he's been the quarterback for literally every team in the NFL.
He's been around a long time, yeah.
I hope I hope he doesn't have kids. That would be bad. They've been to 6 different schools, I think. Alshon Jeffrey's banged up. Eddie Royal banged up.
Zach Miller's banged up.
Right. You also look on the defensive end. Danny Trevathan, Leonard Floyd, Eddie Goldman, Tracy Porter. A lot of injuries right now for the Bears. I'm going to go Colts here. There are several reasons I like this game, including certain people that are on it. Ryan, we know who you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Kevin White's also hurt. Kevin White, is this guy ever going to see the field?
No.
Literally been injured.
They had high expectations for him this year, and he's just constantly been hurt.
Right. Tough travel schedule, though, for Indy. Go to London, come back. But again, I'm going to point out, I don't think travel schedule means absolutely fucking nothing in the NFL. It's not like they're on rickety buses driving down the interstate.
They've done this before, too.
Right. They're in, chartered flights with anything they want. I'm going to go with Indianapolis here with bated breath.
I like Indy as well. I haven't seen really anyone on Indianapolis, to be honest with you. And
we are.
The Bears, they haven't scored 20 points, more than 20 points yet so far this season. 4 straight games. A lot of injuries, really no firepower besides Alshon Jeffrey on offense, who he's banged up. Kevin White's out, who that was supposed to be a guy that was going to take pressure off of Alshon Jeffrey. Got the 2 twin towers on the outside, and they were going to have success this year. That obviously hasn't planned out. Running game's banged up with Langford. He's hurt. And defensively, they're nothing special. Yeah, they won last week at home, but that was because Matthew Stafford and that offense was just in shambles for whatever reason. Not sure why. They couldn't do anything. It was really pathetic, actually. But I like Indy here. I like them at home. I think Indianapolis, just if you look at just the teams, throw everything out of the way and just look at the teams and the players that they're trotting out on the field, I'll take the players that the Colts are trotting out there with Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton and Frank Gore and that clan. Not so much a lot of guys on defense, but against a really just kind of inferior offense, I'll take Indy.
Yeah, you would hope that this is a game they should get right on. This Bears team is struggling, yeah. Ryan, let me ask you a question. Other than the Eagles, which you'll watch, of course, other than that game, you can't tell me you wouldn't rather watch this debate tonight. Wouldn't you rather watch that over any of these games? Honestly, that debate's gonna be fucking awesome. Like, honestly, that debate's going to be sick.
Yeah, look, there's no 1 o'clock games.
Who do you got in that debate, by the way? Who's going to take the gloves off in that debate, Ryan? It's going to be fun.
I wish there were some fisticuffs.
Tell me Donald Trump, though, is going to be classic in this game.
That would be funny.
My girl Britt McHenry doing the Eagles game. How about that, Ryan?
She is, yeah. I was going to say something to you earlier. Ooh. Yeah, but there's no 1 o'clock game that I'm glad the Eagles play at 1 because all the 1 o'clock games, in my opinion, are terrible. There's some pretty good 4 o'clock games in the Sunday night game, maybe, but the card this week is just pretty pathetic.
Ryan, I feel like I'm seeing things. Sean Harnish and Kid Pitch are actually agreeing on several things here. It's nice to see, Ryan.
Good.
Nice to see a little peace going on here.
Yep.
It is very irritating with constant fighting. I like the fact that these guys are actually agreeing. They don't like each other. We all know that, but they're starting to.
Should have just let it go.
Well, no, I like it. I'm happy. Trump has no choice but to lose his mind. Yep, Trump will go nuts tonight. I think that's clear. But yeah, it's going to be fun watching this debate. I will watch it. I don't know about you. I know you're not a political guy, but even this you got to watch. I mean, this is good TV. Let's go to the Eagles, Ryan. Last 1 o'clock game here. Eagles minus 3.5 at the Lions, over under 46. Eagles injury report is clear. Benny Logan's going to play. Everyone's in there.
Yep.
According to all the beat writers. Detroit 1-3 against the spread on the road or overall this year. Eagles leading most categories in the NFL right now. Defensively, lowest points per game allowed. One of the better offensive teams as well. Been very efficient off a bye. But they're going on the road with the rookie quarterback. I think a lot of people are skeptical around the country.
Sure.
But one thing I will say, this Eagles team, I've said over the years, you know, Ryan, I don't really have a lot of expectations for them because they've constantly just pulled it out of my heart and took it away. This, over the years, has been a kind of game the Eagles lose. Everything looks good here. Everything looks on point. You know, you got a team who's some of their best defensive players aren't in. No Eric Ebron. Stafford struggled. You know, you're off a bye. This looks too good to be true. For me as a fan, this is a big game for the Eagles. It looks like a slip-up kind of game. I don't think they'll have it, though, because I don't think Detroit's very good at the end of the day. I like this Eagles team. I hope they continue to kind of prove a lot of the doubters wrong, including myself. I had no realistic expectations for them, and I don't think any fan did either. I hope they win today. I'll root for them. I'm really excited for the game, but you can't knock me for being like this because this is the kind of game they lose.
It is, and this is, we'll kind of learn a lot. And this is a game, I think, they absolutely need to win because they got kind of getting in the tougher part of their schedule here coming up. So a game like this against an inferior team like the Lions that's just really banged up, and Marvin Jones, he's going to play, but he's hurt, and just really, the Eagles should win this game and really should kind of should win it easily. They've won their first 3 games each by 14 points or more. They're just kind of clicking on all cylinders right now, and they get everyone back. Zach Ertz coming back to the lineup today, that really helps Carson Wentz. They've kind of Carson Wentz, Jordan Matthews, and Zach Ertz are kind of the big 3. They kind of they not only on the field but off the field. They kind of have they're pretty close, have a tight relationship. So I think getting him back obviously is really important in the defense. The way they've played so far this year, flying around. Jim Schwartz going back to Detroit again, so there's extra motivation there. I know a lot of the beat writers and people have talked, well, this is a new coaching staff, new team. I don't think they're really putting a lot of stock in last year's Thanksgiving Day ass-whooping the Lions laid on the Eagles. I think it's complete opposite. There's a lot of defensive players that were on that team last year, Fletcher Cox being one of them, Brandon Graham, Vinny Curry, Connor Barwin. Apparently, from what Britt McHenry was reporting, that Fletcher Cox told him that they've talked about this all week, that they want to really kind of make up for that last week. So, look, I think the Eagles win, and I think they win pretty comfortably. And I've seen a lot of people on Detroit, and I think the lines makers are still kind of unsure about the Eagles, kind of like you are, Jeff, kind of like we all are. So they're not sure where to put this line. And I think as the year goes on, you won't get these kind of lines for the Eagles anymore. So
I will say I think the Eagles roll in this game. I do. I think this line's a little low. I think. Look, let me ask you something. Would you, if you were a bettor, and this line was 6.5, I'd still bet that.
Probably.
I mean, honestly,
They should
I don't
win.
think the lines are very good.
They should win by a touchdown or more.
And the revenge factor, the Schwartz factor, the getting McKelvin back, that's big for their secondary. Adding depth. I mean,
and the way the Eagles can get pass rush with their front four, if you kind of get pressure on Stafford, he's careless with the ball. You saw it last week. A few interceptions where he's just really careless. So, if they can make that happen again, it'll be a long day.
Kid Picks, I'm ashamed to admit how wrong I've been so far on Wentz. Yeah, you hated.
Don't be ashamed, Kid Picks. We're glad you were wrong. This is beautiful.
Yeah, you hated. He hated.
I know
the
he did.
thing. He
This
didn't understand that.
This is great.
But kid, this is what I'm trying to tell you, and I'm not trying to say I was right. I wasn't. None of us knew that this would happen. My whole thing was I just wanted a quarterback for once. I was sick of the whole, constant, Michael Vick and Sam Bradford and Nick. I mean, just constant regression at quarterback, moving in and moving out. There's no franchise quarterback. You may have that now. You have that now. And that's what I was just looking for. I wanted a quarterback that, we could kind of depend on for once.
Crazy stat I heard today, Jeff. Last thing I'll say in this game. Inside the red zone, inside the 20-yard line, opposing quarterbacks against the Eagles' QBR rating is 8.9. Yeah. 8.9. By far the best in the NFL. That's amazing.
No, defensively, they've been really good. And there's not...
They've given up no passing touchdowns yet this year.
There's really no person on that defense that I'm, that I think hasn't played 100%. Everyone's done their job. Everybody. And dude, I want to give Jalen Mills some credit. This is a rookie.
He looks like he could
7th round pick.
Looks like he'd be the real deal.
He comes in, and I thought with McKelvin, I thought, my God, now it's back to the same old Eagles defense. Yep. I mean, he gave him a pass or two, but
right. But as a 7th round pick, he's been fantastic.
Yeah.
I think hopefully it's continues, but you may have something going forward there long term.
Yeah, Sean Harnish. I mean, go somewhere else with the Carson Wentz hate. I mean, seriously, go root for Tom Brady. Sean Harnish trying to downplay Carson Wentz. Give the kid some credit, Sean. Seriously,
that's what everyone likes to do. He's playing well. He had. I could care less how far the balls are going. The big thing that I take away from Carson Wentz is he hasn't turned the ball over yet. I think that's for a rookie. And you say the same thing about Dak Prescott. He hasn't turned the ball over either. And what those two guys are doing is fantastic.
And the biggest thing is we put this team under the microscope. Everything we do over the last 25 years that we've watched football, everything they do is under the microscope. Have you ever been more confident watching a game right now with the Eagles? They don't make mistakes. Everything
outside of 2004, everything just
goes
smooth. Pretty exciting right now, yeah.
You trust Wentz. And look, Wentz is going to have bad games. Right. Well, it's coming.
It needs to continue, right?
It's
only 3 weeks.
I don't think it's today, though. I don't.
Right.
So we agree. Eagles, -3.5. And I'm giving you a legitimate prediction there. I'm not just picking the Eagles because I like the Eagles. If I thought Detroit could win and cover, I would tell you.
Yep.
I think this is like a 27-16 type of game. But we'll see. Let's move to the 4 o'clock games, Ryan. 4 o'clock Eastern. Probably one of the 4 o'clock games I'm looking forward to most. Denver Broncos -4 against the Atlanta Falcons. Over-under is 45. Paxton Lynch is in, Ryan. The Memphis product is going to get his first start today.
Yep.
Trevor Siemian out. But we've seen with the Denver Broncos, it doesn't matter who's quarterback. It's a pretty easy offense to run, and their defense is going to be the unit that gets the job done. This is an interesting clash of styles, Ryan. We know Atlanta's offense versus the Denver defense. Denver, though, is at home, which is good. And Falcons' defense is pretty average, if you ask me. I don't exactly. Can we agree they're not an elite?
No, they're average.
Defense. You also wonder how they'll play on the road here. Tough atmosphere, kind of, weather. You got to admit it's probably going to be pretty cool there, and kind of.
It'll probably be pretty nice weather, but yeah.
But either way, elevation-ish.
Obviously.
Matt Ryan, how he could play here. Denver, though, does cover. I mean, we've talked about that before. How many times over the years have they been a favorite at 4 o'clock at -4? This is where we figure out, is Atlanta a team to worry about, or they just had a couple good weeks? What are your thoughts on Atlanta? Do you think they're real?
I think they're real to the point where I think this can be a playoff team. Sure.
You think offensively they're real? Defensively,
yeah, and defensively, it's kind of a question mark going forward. Obviously, they need to play a little bit better, but offensively, they've been. Matt Ryan has been kind of resurrected his career. He was catching a lot of flack this offseason, saying that this guy just has been average his whole career, hasn't lived up to his hype. So he's kind of shutting the haters up so far earlier in this year. But big test today going to Denver against that defense. It's on the road in elevation. This is a situation where they seem to cover. I think the Falcons have a hangover after last week. But that was the biggest game there in quite some time. And for them to kind of, I know it was close at the end, but for them to just really kind of just pound the Panthers and knock Cam Newton out of the game and that whole thing, I think they have a kind of a hangover this week. Broncos apparently are obviously they're high on Paxton Lynch. They drafted him in the first round, but apparently they're not going to keep him on like a super short chain today, from what I'm hearing. They're confident in the things that he can do. He looked good last week coming in. So I think the Broncos, I think they win and they cover here. I do. I think the Falcons have a hangover after the big emotional game last week.
Yeah, and look, this is a totally different defense they're facing now. This is
big time.
Real NFL defense. I like Matt Ryan, though. Local product. You got to feel good for him. He's been an MVP candidate so far.
I want to bring up the Falcons schedule here because I'm trying to think. Okay, they played Tampa Bay, the Raiders, the Saints, and the Panthers. 4 defenses who
are trash.
Just aren't really good so far this year.
None of those defenses. Some of the worst defenses in the NFL.
Yeah,
really.
all of them.
The Saints are terrible. Tampa Bay's awful.
And the Raiders have been bad this year,
right? And so have the
surprisingly, and the Panthers have too. Right.
So I would say they're probably 4 of the 5 worst defenses in the league. Mm-hmm. I mean, so for me, I'm going to go Denver here. I think they'll do enough. They get the job done. They also have 2 very good wide receivers.
Yep.
Sanders, Demaryius Thomas, a decent run game with C.J. Anderson. I like them. Mm-hmm. I like them in this game. I think they'll do enough. I'm not a believer in the Falcons. I'm not. Can they score? Sure. But defensively, they're also not very good. So I'm going to go with Denver here. I love them in this spot. Have for a lot of years.
Mm-hmm.
Next one. Buffalo Bills -2.5 at the Rams, over under 40.5. How about Rob Ryan in this defense, Ryan? Your counterpart there, Rob Ryan, has been good. Are you part of the family, Ryan?
No. Ryan's my first name.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
No, I know.
You kind of look like Rob Ryan. That's why I said it.
Interesting.
Just kidding.
Never been told.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding. Relax. You're not in the mood for jokes today, I see.
Well, they're just not funny, but it's okay.
We're having fun. I got to tell you, I'm having fun.
Yeah. You're starting to sound like a golfer.
Buffalo, -2.5 at Rams. Why is Buffalo a favorite in this game?
Not sure.
Rams have been pretty damn good, Ryan.
Been, yeah.
2 very good defensive teams. Rams are 3-0 since that brutal loss to the
Niners on Monday.
To the Niners. They beat Seattle, Arizona, and Tampa Bay. 2 of those 3 teams very good and possibly playoff teams. Case Keenum. I feel like he's the guy that once you start to trust him, he lets you down. But again, you can't knock this LA team. I think they're at home here. They're playing well. I like them as a home dog here. I don't know what else to say. I think their defense is solid. We just got to keep Shady intact. I don't really trust their pass.
He's banged up. He has a hand injury. He's going to play, but how will that affect him? Carrying the ball, and obviously Shady, as we know here in Philly too, and he's transitioned to that over in Buffalo. He likes to catch the ball out of the backfield. To me, this is probably the biggest coin flip game, one of the bigger coin flip games of the day that I just really could give 2 shits about. The way the Rams have been playing and the way Buffalo's been playing, coming off 2 good wins against Arizona and against New England. At home, I kind of want to slightly lean to the Rams as a home dog, but I feel like that line's just kind of begging you to take the Rams. So I'll side with the Bills slightly, but it really is I really have nothing here.
So we're going to basically push in this game.
Oh no,
I like the Rams.
Yeah, okay, no, I like the Rams as well. Sorry, I thought you.
No, I like the Rams at home. Yeah.
So yeah,
home
I like
dog.
The Rams
I like
too,
the
but I really have no really hard interest. In
Should be a low scoring game, you would think. Kind of a knockdown, drag out type of game. But I'm gonna go with St. Louis here in this game, or LA. I'm sorry,
LA. Yeah.
Playing at home,
playing at the Rose Bowl.
I do not trust Case Keenum though. I'm just
you can't. So,
but hopefully Todd Gurley can make some things happen.
The defense has been the story, and the Bills offensively, I'm not really scared of. So.
Right. 425, Oakland Raiders -3 at the San Diego Chargers. or hosting the San Diego Chargers, over under 50.5. Raiders have lost 4 or 5 at home, Ryan. Kind of a weird stadium to play in. Old, got that baseball dirt there. Kind of an odd stadium. I don't know.
Well, the dirt will be gone now because baseball season is over, Jeff. So
Good
they'll have
point.
all the grass that they can handle
I
today.
forgot about that. By the way, that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? That cruise thing they
Little
do?
beach blitz.
Yeah, that Eagles thing.
That'd be fun, yeah.
Raiders -3 in San Diego. 2 bad defenses, Ryan. 2 good offenses, but who's Phillip Rivers throwing to?
Right.
And again, how do you back San Diego? I mean, you just continue to lose games late. I mean, last week, up to, I think, 8 points with like 4 minutes to go and somehow lose. I mean, they just find ways to mess up games. And Oakland at home here, San Diego not a ton of playmakers. I'm going to side with the Raiders here. I think they show out today and kind of get back into the fold. A lot of people were high on the Raiders this year. I think they're the better offense. I think they're the slightly better defense. And at home here, I think they get a margin win here.
Yeah, at home, I like the way Derek Carr's been playing so far this year. Crabtree's really kind of stepped up to the plate. Amari Cooper, he's been just okay. Hasn't given you much so far this season. But Latavius Murray being out, I kind of worry about a little bit. But the Chargers just aren't very good. They blew the opening game against the Chiefs where they were up by a ton, let them come back. Then they turn around and wax the Chargers, lose to the Colts, and then last week they let the Saints come all the way back. That game was in San Diego, so I'm just not sure how you can really back the Chargers this week. They do get Antonio Gates back, so that will help Phillip Rivers, but I'd have a hard time backing this team on the road with the way they just kind of flounder at times. So I would back Oakland here.
Yeah,
Oakland. There's a lot of games this week. We talked about the Eagles being one. This is one. There's a lot of games where interesting lines that teams should win. And this is a game that the Raiders should win. This is a game, a 3-1, this is a game you should win that will put you to 4-1. I mean, this is a game you need to have.
I agree with you. Agree with you totally. Ryan, while we're on this quick subject of Major League Baseball, I've seen a lot of people talking about how unbelievably good the MLB playoffs are.
Good.
I mean, I don't know.
They've been awful.
Agreed. I don't know what people are watching, but they are brutal.
They've been terrible.
These have been awful.
What is there, 3 series that teams are up 2-0?
And the games are just terrible.
They're terrible.
They're just
because
total
the Washington
shit
game got postponed, right?
Right.
Yesterday.
Right.
So yeah, 3 out of the 4 series, the teams have 2-0 lead.
I got to tell you,
That's terrible.
There's nothing at all that I'm interested in watching Major League Baseball. Nothing. None of the series are interesting. There's no good storylines.
You would think
the only storyline that I want to see happen would be I would like to see the Cubs win, just because I think that city deserves it.
And you would think that the AL and NLCS would be pretty good.
Yeah,
you think, but the series right now,
Ryan, several things I will tell you.
They're bad.
The Cleveland Indians are winning, and
they are.
Pretty sure I told all you guys the Cleveland Indians were a bona fide World Series kind of team. Dodgers looking good, and San Francisco is not. So,
nope.
Yeah, again, I don't know. I'm just not really interested in the Major League Baseball playoffs. What are you watching, Ryan, on Monday night? Are you watching Teen Mom or the MLB playoffs? What are you taking there?
Monday night, I'll be watching the football.
Okay, that's not the question. The question was, what would you rather watch? Teen Mom OG, which we have mentioned we watch.
It's not bad, right?
Yeah. What would you rather watch?
Hard saying. What are the?
Okay, let's say the matchup is the Cubs and the Giants.
I'd probably watch Teen Mom.
Okay. Is there any series you'd rather watch?
I'm not a big MLB guy, and they're not helping their case with these series so far.
Right. All right. Well, good answer. I would agree with you. Last one, Ryan. 425. We saved the best for last, maybe. The Cincinnati Bengals -2 against the Cowboys. Over under 46. Cowboys play every game at home. What's the story there? They've literally played every game at home. I feel like
this is
every time I watch the Cowboys, they're at home.
Well, they played week 1 at home against the Giants. They played
last
week at home, and they played. I feel like they played another one at home.
They did.
Too.
They're like every game's at home.
Well, that's going to hurt them later in the year when Romo comes back and he's got to be on the road every week.
However, if you like betting against the Cowboys and you like to see them losing, 5-13 at home against the spread over the last 3 years, they have not gotten the job done. Cowboys in Michigan, yes, they've been at home constantly, right?
Yep. Hey, Michigan had a road game last night, Kid Picks. Leave me alone.
Yeah, they played Little Sisters of the Poor, Ryan. Congratulations.
So?
They would have did better against the Connecticut School of the Blind, probably.
Well,
who cares? Please don't ever mention that again.
I'm just telling you. They played a road game.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, I am right.
Dallas finally facing a real team with a real defense. You look at what they faced so far, not exactly murderer's row. Last week, got the job done, but again, San Francisco's a train wreck. No Des Bryant today. Vontaze Burfict back off the suspension. That's only going to improve a defense ranked 9th in the NFL. This is another game where you're going to finally see, is this team legitimate so far? We saw with the Eagles. They had their benchmark against the Steelers. I think they proved a lot of people wrong in that. This is the game for me where Dak Prescott and the Cowboys kind of show if they're legitimate or not. This is a pretty good team, pretty good defense. And I'm just not selling the Cowboys defensively. I don't think anyone is. What are your thoughts, Jay? I like the Bengals in this game.
Yeah, I like the Bengals as well, and I hate picking the Eagles, and I hate betting against the Cowboys on the show because I'm sure a lot of people will say, well, it's just you being a homer and a hater, but it's really not the case. I just think the Cowboys so far this year, this will by far be their biggest test. Look, they lost to the Giants week 1, and I still don't think the Giants are a very good football team. Washington they beat, I don't think they're a good football team. We know about the Bears, who they beat, and we know about the 49ers, who they beat. So, I'm just kind of waiting to see Dallas do something. You're right. This is their opportunity against a Bengals team who is coming off the extra couple days off after the Thursday night game against Miami. But Cincinnati, look, Tyler Eifert's out, but A.J. Green should be able to have a field day. And running the football, I think they'll be able to have some success as well. Another interesting situation here, another interesting kind of X factor. For whatever reason, Andy Dalton has just outstanding success against AFC teams. I think in his career he only has 4 losses against NFC teams, which is an outstanding record. So I like Cincinnati going to Dallas here. I think a few things happen. I think Dak throws his first interception, and I think Ezekiel Elliott kind of doesn't have as good a game as he's had. And a lot of people are sucking Ezekiel Elliott off, but here's one thing I'll say. He has the most carries already in the NFL, and it's really not even close. And he has the most carries in the NFL, but he only is about 9th or 10th in yards per carry. So, and I love this. Keep running. Run that kid into the ground. Come end of November, early December, he's going to be washed out. Because as we see, rookies come the end of November, early December, they're not used to playing that many games. And you keep giving this kid this many carries, end of the year, he's going to be exhausted and worthless. So Jason Garrett, keep doing what you're doing and keep feeding Ezekiel Elliott the ball. We'll reap the benefits later in the year. But in this game, I like Cincinnati.
Yeah, I do as well. Again, like I said, big game for the Cowboys.
It is.
Definitely a benchmark kind of game for them.
Yep.
But I just don't think I think they're piecing things together right now, and I think it's going to come to a head today. This
is a game that I don't think they can have success just kind of dinking and dunking, which is kind of what Prescott has kind of done. Has been helped out by his receivers with yards after catch, which is great. But I just think this is a game where he's going to have to try to press the ball down the field. And with Terrence Williams and Cole Beasley, who has one catch in his career over 20 yards, I don't think that they're capable of doing that today.
So to answer your question, Fake Fan Tracker, we like the Bengals in this game. So Ryan, let's wrap up NFL here, and then just a couple quick things, college, and then we'll wrap up the show. These are all of our picks, Ryan, which we will keep track of. We are on the under 39.5 Texans Vikings. We like Tennessee +3, New England -10.5, Steelers -9.5, Ravens -3.5, Colts -4.5, Eagles -3.5, Broncos -4.
A lot of chalk today.
Rams +2.5.
There we go.
Raiders -3 and Cincinnati -2. Yes, a lot of chalk. You are correct.
We see that from times, though, with the NFL. Sometimes chalk wins, and then there'll be other weekends where the dogs are just barking.
I guess we'll see here, yep. Ryan. But yes, on the card, we only have 2 underdogs. Probably not the best way to play NFL, but whatever.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, Ryan, there are 2 college games today. and I'll ask you.
There are.
To
One I
gauge
could
your
give
interest.
two shits about.
Well, I got to point out, Charlotte is getting 13 against Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic, I mean, I don't really think they have any business laying that number to anyone, but I guess good luck betting either game.
Florida Atlantic, though, has played
Nebraska,
Kansas State and Miami,
Okay.
both on the road. Three of their 5 games have been on the road, so
Yeah, good luck with that
I
one.
don't know. Charlotte's terrible too, though.
Georgia, South Carolina, another game I have no interest in. Georgia is a team that has underachieved for so many years, and I don't think
Yeah.
Kirby Smart's really going
Right.
to change much there. South Carolina, another team that is vastly underperformed lately. Another shit show in the SEC. No interest in either of these games, and I won't watch 1 minute of them.
Neither.
I'm college football out after this.
Okay.
I watch way too much college football. But just to kind of reiterate that Michigan game, Ryan, in the first half, Rutgers had 1 total yard.
Yes, they did.
How is that possible? I mean, I get if you were like Howard or
Right.
like Savannah State, but
Yeah.
you were a Big Ten team. You had 1 yard.
The last 2 weeks for them has just they lost 58-0 against Ohio State the week before, and then yesterday they lose 78-0.
Yeah, and when I gave Michigan out on the show Wednesday night, I figured it would be like a 42-7
Didn't
type of
fathom
game.
this,
and,
though, yeah.
No, it did not. Pretty unbelievable, if you ask me. But yesterday, obviously, pretty interesting day in college football. You had some real washouts.
Oh yeah.
Several games. NC State,
Yeah.
North Carolina, Va-Tech. How about Va-Tech putting up 34 on North Carolina? Va-Tech is a real
They look
team.
good. That quarterback has been fantastic. So
I said a couple weeks ago, I thought they had a possible. They could get to the final in that conference because
In the
they
conference,
don't
yeah.
play Clemson, they don't
Right.
play Louisville, and they don't play Florida State. Actually, I think they do play Florida State, but other than that, they don't play Louisville or Clemson.
And you have to tip your hat to them, too, because what I just slipped my mind, really, and you have to really point out, is they're doing this with the first-year head coach.
Yeah, Justin Fuente, right?
So, I mean, you tip your hat to them.
But I think the knock on them is we know they're good defensively. It's just their offense hadn't really gotten much going. But Gerard Evans and Quincy Ford and really been great. So good for Va-Tech. It's nice to see them kind of get relevant again. Washington State, Ryan. How about the Cougars last night? Mike Leach continues to just impress and wow. He is my favorite coach in the college football. Favorite.
That was
None.
that was one of my plays. That was the winner that I did give out as one of my plays of the week. And it kind of I didn't think they'd win this big of a margin. I thought they would win outright. I just thought it was another bad spot for Stanford, who is now 3-2, has not looked good. Who I don't think should be ranked after this week. They need to get out of the rankings. Stanford is they're just not very good right now. McCaffrey got banged up last night. The quarterback play is still a joke. That was at home. Look, this team is just nothing special this year. And Washington State, is this year just not, I mean, the complete identical year as last year? You lose week 1 to an FCS team, and now you're getting hot in conference play. I mean,
That's what they do.
It's the exact same year as last year, and it's just wild.
And I've said it before. I love Washington. I'm a big fan of this team. I could watch their offense all day. I think, I just love it. If I was a head coach, I would never run the ball, and that's I really don't understand why you would ever run the ball. I don't get
Because
it.
you have to keep teams.
I get that,
You have
but-
to keep teams on edge. You do.
But when you throw the football, regardless of how many times you do it, you can be effective every play.
So-
The run game, I just don't get
In
it.
college, to a degree, sure.
I wouldn't do it much at all. I agree, though. In the NFL, it's probably different.
Because
but-
with football, when you get into if you have games where it's pouring, it's snowing. I mean, look at the bowl game last year against Miami. They won mostly because Miami kind of shot themselves in the foot, but they didn't have success at all throwing the ball in that game at all.
Right.
So I mean,
Right.
those are situations why you need to be able to run the ball.
I think kickers should be abolished in football. I really do.
I've said it
I don't see the reason
I've said
for
it too.
I don't think it.
I hate it.
It would add so much intrigue if you could just go for two.
If you had to go for two, yeah.
I don't get why they have kickers.
I
ever.
despise it. I hate kickers. I absolutely hate them. I know one of my friends in particular hates kickers this morning too. So
not to continue to pile on Michigan, Ryan, and I'm not going to pile it on. I just want to ask you.
Why are you piling it on, though?
Because Jim Harbaugh makes another ridiculous statement.
What's the big deal? Listen,
I like Jabril Peppers a whole lot. I want him to win the Heisman Trophy really bad. But he continues to put out this jargon that he should be – play a good team for a couple weeks in a row, Jabril, do well, then we can put you in the Heisman race.
Well,
really.
I don't know what to tell you, dude.
If there's a better player in the country, I don't know who it is. I know there's a ton of great players out there, but this guy to be able to coach a guy like Jabril Peppers is a real joy. There's nothing he can't do. In my humble opinion, we're looking at a Heisman Trophy winner, according to Harbaugh.
Well, I don't think he's like 100% wrong. There's no one in the country that does what he does.
Right.
His position on the depth chart, when you get a program or go online and look at his position, it's linebacker. Is there another linebacker in the country that runs the Wildcat and takes it around the edge for 70 yards? Does that happen?
If you pick the Heisman Trophy right now, do you think he's
No, he probably wouldn't win. Okay. One, because the day and age we're in, the defensive players just don't win it. And
would you like to see him take a bigger?
Two, it's only October 9th. So
right.
We still have a long way to go, and he has obviously some bigger games and some better competition to go. So
Washington ends a 12-year losing skid against Oregon, and then it did it in a big way. Mark Helfrich should be fired Monday. We have to stop with this. Mark Helfrich is not the answer at Oregon. He's proved time and time again, not only on the defensive end, but the offensive end. What he did yesterday was a joke. What sense did it make to put Justin Herbert in that game? What sense did it make?
Doesn't make any sense.
It made no sense. It made none. I get you want to make something happen, but Pruitt played well this year. For the most part.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. 70 points hung on you.
Outside of the first two games this season when they played UC Davis and Virginia, which were both wins, UC Davis scored 28 points, Virginia scored 26. Then after that, it just gets terrible. They give up 35 to Nebraska, you give up 41 to Colorado, you give up 51 to Washington State, you give up 70 to Washington. All losses, obviously, and just absolutely terrible. And each game is getting worse. 35, 41, 51, 70. What are they going to give up next week? What are they going to give up next week to Cal? 80? Really, things are just getting worse and worse. And you brought a defensive kind of guy in Brady Hoke who you thought maybe would help. That's been a dumpster fire.
By the way, what would the total be in that game? Oregon Cal?
Yeah, it's going to be really high. But
By the way, one thing I will say about Brady Hoke, he looks great. He lost a lot of weight. He looks great.
Right.
Have you seen him lately?
Yeah, he's just probably...
He looks literally like...
he's probably depressed, that's why.
I feel like Brady Hoke, you'd see him in The Sopranos. He looks really
right.
But he looks good, I will say that. I don't know if Phil Knight said, look, you got to lose some weight to be our coach.
Maybe he did.
Alabama, Ryan, continues to be perfect. And look, Jalen Hurts is really good. And I don't think there's any team that's going to compare right now to Alabama. Maybe Ohio State.
It's funny. Well, they're going to learn a lot from Alabama, too. Like I said, on this stretch where they're going to...
Texas.
It's road games, too, because they got at Tennessee next week, and then they got Texas A&M at home. Then you got to go to Death Valley. But, yeah, the way Alabama's playing... Arkansas is another team that I just... Year after year, I just hate, because they always get into the rankings, and then they always shit the bed and fall apart. Arkansas is a team I wish would just go away because they're just kind of annoying. But Jalen Hurts yesterday, 253 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Only rushed for 20 yards rushing, but added 2 touchdowns on the ground. So, Bama just keeps...
Mark my words, Alabama will win the national championship. There's no team better than them. Ryan, last thing today, we've got to continue to work. It's not desperate. You want to win and you can't lose 3 games in a row. We've just got to continue to work hard. Who said that yesterday?
Was that before the game or after the game?
This after the game. It astounds me that this guy doesn't think that they're not desperate.
You can't lose 3 games in a row.
Well, I'll cut to the chase. Charlie Strong said that.
Charlie Strong, yeah.
Charlie Strong, a dead man walking, just like Mark Alfrich. This Charlie Strong guy, first of all, I guess from a scenario of money, I completely understand you go to Texas. You want to make some money. You want to be at a big program.
Uh-huh.
The problem with being in a big program, and that I've found, is if you don't win in 2 or 3 years, you're gone. And now you're back to square one. I didn't really understand him leaving Louisville. I really, from a standpoint of, he did pretty well there. They had NFL caliber players. They were very much in the ACC every year, or the AAC, wherever they were. I just think Charlie Strong, it was a terrible hire. He's just better at a small school. Good point.
Charlie Strong just in over his head, like a few coaches over the last handful of years have been. Just what's going on there defensively is just disgusting. I mean, give up over 600. You laugh, but it is. I mean, dude, it's disgusting.
No, I know.
They're giving. I mean, what they're doing.
I just like when you say it. You always go, "It is just disgusting."
It is. I mean, you give up 45 points yesterday to Oklahoma. You give up over 600 yards of total offense. You give up over 500 the week before to Oklahoma State, where you give up 49 points, and the week before that, Cal throws a 50 spot on you. And oh, by the way, in a game you won week 1, Notre Dame still put up 47 points on you. So it's just brutal. Charlie Strong's in over his head. Texas, this year has shown they still have a long way to go. They really have a long way to go, in my opinion. I don't think Texas is. At a time, I thought they were kind of trending upward, but I'm not even sure I can say that anymore, man. Texas is just.
But again, Ryan, they beat Notre Dame.
Just,
it's a great win for their program.
Yeah.
I mean, that was such a I mean, what happened to that?
Texas.
I mean, really. That's why I'm begging Matt Rule, PJ Fleck, even Tom Herman, stay at the small school, please. Make your money. You're going to get rich anyway. You have carte blanche. Do whatever you want. You could go 3-7 for 3 or 4 straight years. No one would care.
Yeah, but
PJ Fleck.
They want to win.
I'm looking at you.
They want to win.
Stay at Western Michigan. You've developed a nice culture there. You're going to win every year. And
I hope PJ Fleck. He's actually the exception to the rule for me, Jeff. I actually hope he goes to a bigger school because I think PJ Fleck could actually have some success. What he's doing at Western Michigan is extremely impressive. I remember years ago, back not even a decade ago, like 6-7 years ago, Western Michigan was awful. I mean, because I know Michigan would play them in the first 1 or 2 weeks of the season and always pound them. I mean, they were terrible. Now what PJ Fleck has done, he's a young coach. Kids really kind of buy in and kind of relate to him. I think he could have success going somewhere. Maybe don't go from Western Michigan to, say if Charlie Strong gets fired, to Texas, but take a smaller step, then if you have success there, then go to one of the bigger boys.
Right.
I think that's a mistake that a lot of these coaches make. They go from these really small schools to where there's not a lot of limelight on them.
I'm going to tell you,
to one of these bigger national stages to where everything they do is magnified.
I'm going to tell you right now, Ryan. Penn State should throw the fucking checkbook at PJ Fleck. The fucking whole checkbook.
They should throw the checkbook at anyone besides the guy they have.
Fleck would be perfect there.
They're not going to because their athletic director has already come out and said, this guy's down the hot seat. He needs some more time. Mm-hmm. And good. I love it.
Yeah. Tom Herman may be gone, though, at Houston after yesterday. I think he will move on. I think that's clear.
It's funny. That game hurt a lot of teams yesterday, that Houston lost.
Well, it sure hurt me because I had Houston in that game. Yeah. And look, I want to explain my reasoning for taking Houston yesterday.
The rush defense was
correct,
yeah.
but I know a lot of people say, "Well, who cares? The option's totally different animal." You're totally right.
It is, yeah.
But I look at Navy this year, and I just saw a brand new quarterback. I didn't think that they would be effective at all against that rush defense. I mean, Air Force held them to 57 yards on 38 carries. I just didn't see the option to run the way it normally did. Defensively, I thought Houston would have some problems. But for me, you know what the big problem in that game was, Ryan? The weather. I didn't think the weather would affect that game the way it did. And it was a loss outright. So good for Navy.
Yeah,
I think if anyone's going to upset anyone, you're not really sad to see Navy do it.
Yeah, Houston's done, and then I mentioned it hurts other teams. It hurts Louisville because Houston was the only game left on their schedule that was even kind of relevant. So that kind of eliminates Louisville. So Houston and Louisville, 2 more teams that you don't have to worry about, I think, going forward the rest of the year. So 2 more teams that are just eliminated now. So things are kind of starting to get in focus a little bit.
Sean Harnish, that's a great question. If ESPN called me tonight and said, "Listen, Jeff, we heard you on the radio. We want you to come work for us," I would have to say no at this point. I don't think I'm physically someone that should be on ESPN right now. I don't think I'm nearly ready to be on ESPN either. I would like to take a small job, maybe an affiliate, get my name built on the radio, and maybe.
I think that's an absolute joke. I think
I don't want to be on ESPN.
I think me. I think Sean Harnish. I think several people that are on here could. I think what is going on at ESPN, Jeff, is an absolute joke.
I agree with you.
I think the people they have on there are I hate kind of incompetent.
On camera, you mean?
I don't like analysts, the people that work at the desk on SportsCenter. I'm not a fan. What they had when we were in grade school, middle school, high school was fantastic. The last decade at ESPN has been an absolute joke. I think we could. I do, because I don't like ESPN right now. But
well, no, he is. So if I would go on ESPN, I don't think on camera I would want to do it. But yeah, I would like to be on the radio.
I'm not sure you have the face for ESPN.
Yeah, no, I don't. Definitely don't. I definitely don't. And
you wouldn't look good in a short dress and heels. So.
Well, no, but I mean, I don't.
Which seems to be what they're hiring.
But I don't
anymore.
fit that. I don't think I would be able to hold my tongue. I would want to. Every time someone says something stupid, I'd be like, "Are you fucking serious?
Right.
Like, what are you nuts?" And that's why, like, at the end of the day, like Skip Bayless, I think is kind of ridiculous with things he says, but
he does it on purpose. You realize that?
Yeah, and I also think that he's brilliant as far as like building his brand. Because, like, Skip Bayless, everybody knows who he is.
Same with Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah. And that's why, like, I respect those guys at the end of the day. Like, they're not scared to, like, go at someone. You know, they don't just sit back and be a talking head like half the other people in there. All right, guys, have a great day. Appreciate you tuning in, as always. We'll be back Wednesday night with Week 7 already, Ryan. Yep. College football preview. We'll break it down and go and try to continue to do pretty well in the podcast here. The women that work there nowadays are hot. Yes, agreed. Who's your favorite ESPN personality, woman-wise?
Huh.
You got to pick one. And they have to be like a host, not like a silent reporter. No silent reporter.
Molly McGrath's pretty hot. I like Molly.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is.
I like Molly McGrath. She's really hot. She was actually a cheerleader at BC, played soccer there as well. She was on Fox Sports now. She's on ESPN now. She does that college football live show sometimes when Sam Ponder doesn't do it. So, I don't know. I've really had a liking to Molly McGrath over this year so far, which is her first year at ESPN.
Yeah, the first take girl for me.
Yeah, you like her.
I love her, too.
Yeah.
Molly Clearum, she's dope. Dope. All right, guys, everyone have a great day. We're going to go get ready for some Eagles football, Ryan. Give me a prediction today. What's the score?
I think Eagles win. I'm going to say 30-17.
32-17.
30-17.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I'm going to go 27-16.
27-16, okay.
Yes. Carson Wentz, what's his line? Did he throw an interception today?
I think Wentz goes 21 for 31 for 270 yards and 2 touchdowns. I say no turnovers again for the young man.
Oh, Brian, by the way.
Oh, what?
Get on my World Cup qualifier games today. 2 big games today. I'm on Wales -1.5 against Georgia, and I'm not talking about the state of Georgia, Ryan. I'm talking about Georgia. Do you know where that is?
Georgia?
It's geography lesson.
It's
Do you know
north of Florida. I know that.
No, the country.
No, I don't.
Capital.
I don't.
Okay, it's near Russia.
Okay.
By the way. They're going to pound Georgia into oblivion today. Georgia can't score. Wales and Gareth Bale, Ryan. We know about them.
Remember him.
And I'm also on Albania and Spain under 2.5. Albania, Ryan, struggles to score against good teams. I know because I watch them every time they play. Spain will score a goal or two and park the bus. Just a 1-0, 2-0 kind of game. At worst, a 1-1 game, which we'll root for. Ryan, by the way, do you happen to know who leads the group in World Cup qualifiers above Italy, Spain, and several others?
Yeah, I do.
Albania. How about that?
2 matches in, but...
Yeah, you're right. And they haven't played anyone good either.
No.
So get on those 2, under 2.5. I'm 5-2, I believe, with those, Ryan. Doing pretty well with them. 3-0 yesterday.
Good job.
I'm doing everything good except college football.
It's unfortunate, right?
I bet on the Senegal yesterday. The Senegal.
Interesting.
Everyone have a great day. We'll see you Wednesday. Tune in as always, 9 o'clock Eastern. Have a great day. Enjoy the NFL. Bye-bye.